So I got this question about one of the preferences in Adobe Captivate, which is a bit difficult to understand immediately. So let's take a look at this one here. In the confirmation messages right here, we see this one down here that says copy, paste all references. Now, that one I think is normally turned off. I turned it on. What it is interesting. Let me show you how it works. When you copy something from one place to another in Captivate, whether it's in the same file or another file, certain rules apply. Let's say that we have this smart shape and we're going to turn it into a button now. Having done so, let's just go ahead and set this to jump to, we're going to actually take, let's keep it as go to next slide. Now, if I were to copy this button right here and then paste it down here, you would expect that it's going to be the same thing. Let's ignore this for just a moment. So we come over here and it says go to the next slide. Wonderful. So the action followed the button. Good. That's what we expected to have happen. And if we were to create another file right now and paste it in there, you'll suspect that it's going to work there as well. Even if we only have one slide in there, it's still going to say go to the next slide, right? Okay, so that's all well and good. Let's go ahead and delete it out of here, and let's come back to this one, and I'm going to delete that one on slide 2. And this time I'm going to tell it, let's go ahead and add one more slide. I'm going to add one more slide here, and this will still be my introduction, but this one here, let's go ahead and put something else on there. Well, we'll keep Elise here, and so this time we'll choose to put this one here. Okay, so this is slide 1 where the button is, and then we have slide 2 and slide 3. If I change this button now to say we're going to jump to slide 2, now that's an explicit jump. It's not go to the next slide, it's actually jump, even though it does the same thing in the end. It could jump to any slide, of course. But in so doing, if I were then to take this and copy it to the clipboard again, and then say paste it over here on slide 3, you'll see that in fact it still is linked correctly to slide 2. But this time if I come to another file here, even if I were to create a second slide, in essence slide 2, even if I were to call it introduction, the same as I did in the other, when I paste this button here in this file, I'm going to see that in fact, oops, what happened? It's no longer there. Why? Why? Because the slide that's in here is not the same slide as in the other. Even if you were to make them exactly the same in every way, the same contents, the same name, etc., it wouldn't work, okay? Because it's in a whole different file. The reference is actually to the slide itself, not to its name, not to its contents, not to its location even, but to its internal reference, okay? Which we don't necessarily have access to here. Okay, so having said that, we now can see that this warning that we get, and I'm going to do it again now, I'm going to come over here and paste it, and this time we'll pay attention to this warning, says that copy-paste carries forward the trigger actions if all relevant objects are copied. Make sure to copy all the referred items. Well, in the case like this, where you're jumping on the slide, not much you can do about that. The only thing you can do, actually, is to keep those slides grouped together, and then it should work, but not in the case that we just showed here. Let's take a look at something else, though. Let's come over here, and this time we're going to have this button, rather than jump somewhere, we're going to have it do an advanced action. So in the advanced action that we're going to create, we're going to have, I wanted to do this on slide 1. Sorry, let me go ahead and get rid of this on slide 3 and come back to slide 1. Okay, so over here, I'm going to create this time an advanced action, execute an advanced action, and I'm going to have it do two things. First, I'm going to have it play and a sound, and also to show Elise that's on the screen there right now. So I will say play and show, and what it's going to do is I'm going to have it play audio. So when I come over here and say play audio, and I select an audio file, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in this ocean waves one right here. Okay, that's the first thing it does. The second thing it's going to do is to show Elise, which is the name of the object that's on the screen right now. And I close this and close this again. Now, Elise is initially hidden, so we wouldn't see her until we click this button. And the sound will play as well. So if I were to just run this right now, you should be able to see that the button is working correctly, and that in fact you're going to see that when I click this button, you hear the sound and you see Elise show up. Okay, very good. Now, what happens if we copy this button again in the same file? Well, let's say I bring it down to here, okay, this time. And when I do that, and I take a look, play and show, still the same exact advanced action because it's in the file, okay, and that's great. And in fact, the show is referring not to this item here, but to the item up here on slide 1. So if that item were set, for instance, to be timed so that it was rest of project, you could conceivably use that option on slide 3 to turn her off or on, okay? All right, so having said all that, now let's go to the nitty-gritty. Let's take that and copy the button here to the other file. Now, something very interesting is going to happen this time. I'll go ahead and delete that one. When I paste this time, it's going to do an interesting thing. First of all, it's going to, we're going to see that in the properties, it's set to continue. Oh, wow, so we lost everything? Not quite. In fact, if I were to go to execute advanced actions, I see that the play and show has been copied over into this file as well. If I were to play this, okay, I'm just going to preview this one, you might just hear the sound. No. Do you see the image? No. Okay, well, let's take a look at that one. And we'll see that the sound is there, but the image is not. I'm not quite sure why we didn't hear the sound, though, because, well, did I click it? Let's try that one more time. Project. And when I click this, I don't think I clicked it earlier. So there you go. Now you hear the sound, but you're not seeing the image. So the truth is that when you copy over an advanced action where it has sound playing inside of it, it will copy that sound over to this file. So it's not referring to the other file, of course, it's referring to the current file. But the show here is not valid because the image is not copied over, and so it doesn't have the image to refer to here. Having said that, you notice that it still worked, the advanced action, only it ignored the show because there was nothing to show here. Now, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and bring something else in here. So for instance, if I brought in a different character altogether and made that my thing to show, that's image 1. So if I come over here and say play and show, now I could just set this to image 1, and of course it's going to work now as soon as I hide image 1 here from the learner. This time when I play this back, it will show that character and also of course play the sound. So what's happening is sounds do carry over, but the images no. So you have to, in essence, re-link those or live with the fact that it doesn't show anything. It just plays the sound. Okay, so interestingly, sounds do carry over even when, for instance, if I don't have, excuse me, if I come back to this file here and I attach audio to this one, so I'm going to import to, and I'll bring in the seagulls this time. So now I have the seagull sound playing as soon as she appears on the screen. There's no need to hit a button or anything else. In fact, I can get rid of this button altogether. I don't need it anymore to prove my point. I can get rid of that. I can even get rid of this other slide. It doesn't really matter. All we're looking at right now is the fact that this image right here has a sound attached to it. If I copy this image into the other file, well, into the same file, onto another slide, it's going to work the same way, just as it did before. If I paste it in here, it's going to have the sound attached to it. You can see the sound right there, and if I were to play it, you would hear the sound playing as well. Now, if I go to a different file and paste that one in, I'll do it on this slide here, paste it in, you'll see, remarkably, that yes, the sound actually carried over as well. So sound, whether it's attached to the object or it's actually referenced in the advanced action, will allow you to paste that the object that's referencing that sound directly or in the advanced action, it will carry over into the new file. You can see that in the library right here that those are now in the current file. So that's what this whole thing is about. When I paste one of these, I get this message here that's actually just reminding me, warning me that, hey, you know what, you better make sure that all referred items have been copied over. Now, when you just seen that some of them do, for instance, the audio attached does, and other things may as well. But if you're jumping to the slide or you're trying to refer to an object to show it, for instance, or hide it, not so much. Now, of course, there's a whole nother discussion regarding shared actions, which come in really handy in these cases as well, but that's another subject. But for now, I want you to be well aware of what this confirmation message is. If you get tired of seeing this, which, you know, I've done it several times now, of course, I can turn it off. But then when I come into here in the preferences, if I decide I really want to, I keep forgetting and I really want it to be reminding me, then I come to the confirmation messages and turn it back on right here. So I believe if you look in yours, it's probably off. But if you were to turn it on, you would see that message every time you copied and pasted something that had a reference attached to it. I don't believe it happens for just a simple one. If I make that one there, oh, let me make sure that that confirmation message is in fact turned on again. You're seeing this happen in real time. Turn that back on. Now, if I were to copy this and then paste it, still get that message even though there's really nothing attached to this or anything else. So in other words, you get that message every time you paste. You probably have not seen that because that confirmation message is turned off by default. But if it is not, that's what's happening. And if it is, then you can always turn it off as well. I hope that helped, and happy captivating. Yes.